My Ouma Violet, geez, I remember I was 4 years old, right? This little kid, this tiny little Indian feet. And I just got drawn to the kitchen by these majestical aromas. And I honestly just got obsessed with it. And at that age, I couldn't see further than the tall legs that were in the kitchen. And I would do little small tasks, like stamping chilies or picking the curry leaves off stems and green beans in the backyard with my Oma. And she always sat on a stool by the stoop when we did the masalas together. So it was inevitable that I would have become infatuated by her charisma and passion and drive for the respect for simple ingredients. And I mean, we never grew up in a rich household, so we were average or just we could survive, and she taught us to turn like really simple cheap things into mind-blowing flavors. I mean, potatoes that cost next to nothing would turn into something that was close to caviar when she's done. But it was just the love and passion that she had for cooking that inevitably got me into cooking in general. And I just kept on cooking at home, and eventually I got the opportunity to study at high school, and that's when I like kind of took that opportunity and started cooking, and taking it to the professional level. But it's always been in my blood. It's a natural thing for me, and it all started with Oma Violet and her daughters and the elderly aunties in the community. How did I deal with the whole stigma around taking on home economics opposed to woodwork? Because the story is I had to ask Mr. Asmal if I could get permission to exit his woodwork classes and take on home economics. And he looked at me like, what's this pansy all about? What is he thinking? And at that point, I mean, I come from a very like rough neighborhood, and we grew up strong. But like it's difficult to say now because we fought battles with our fists. We never knew how to negotiate and stuff like that. So as a young kid, I wasn't someone that you would normally just come across and bully because I kind of never allowed that to happen. So it wasn't that difficult for me. And when I took the subject on, it was a bit of ridiculing in the beginning. And then I was quite a popular kid in school. So I never or I was never one to follow trends. I was always one to rather set them and not be afraid to take big leaps. And I always had a little bit of like encouragement within myself to take on something that nobody else would want to do. And funny enough, one gentleman with 14 other ladies in the class, and I finished my first year now in home economics, which I loved. I mean, the Marjam was obsessed with me. She loved me. I mean, I was just too naughty because she eventually, like, kind of disciplined me in senses, and many of the teachers, because they saw this talent, but I was just too stout. So they tried to like mold me in a sense. But yeah, it wasn't very difficult for me. And the most inspirational thing for me and what came out of me taking on that subject was four other gentlemen joined home economics the following year. So it took myself, and not putting myself on a pedestal, but sometimes it takes someone to just take a leap and show the rest of the people that it's not that scary. Just try, just do it. And honestly, it wasn't a real big thing around being ridiculed per se for taking on the subject. And I mean, many years later, I'm a hero now in front of those kids. So who's laughing now? Huh? Traveling around the world has been so inspirational, and it changes my entire mindset in the way you look at ingredients, the way you look at cultures, the way you look at people in general. Because food starts from culture, food starts from people's upbringings, and that strong sort of story that could be told through somebody's food that they cook. And for me, I honestly got so obsessed with cooking after traveling to Singapore, because I mean, I'm already obsessed with cooking. And when I travel to Singapore, it's like the world capital of food because it's their basically their pastime. They eat. So like instead of relaxing, South Africans' pastime could be drinking if we have to argue about it, but for them it's literally sitting down and having a meal. And it's pan Asian because Singapore sort of arise from Malaysia, the Chinese, few Japanese influence. So it's got all of those cultures, Thai as well, and the foods that you eat on the streets, it's next level. It just opened up my palate. It got my palate singing and understanding so many flavors that it was foreign to. And after that one stint there, I just it changed my mind. Like I felt like this little small grain of rice in this massive day pot, and that I needed to drop my ego completely and just realize that you're gonna die not knowing 1% of this industry. So embrace every day, take on new challenges, never be afraid to learn from the weakest person in your group, the most strongest person. You can learn from each and every one if you just open to the idea of taking on something that they might have to offer in terms of cooking and culture. But yeah, traveling is definitely influenced the way I cook today, the way I respect food, the way I respect other cultures, most importantly. Working with Chef Rudy Liebenberg was an extremely life-changing maturing process, if I may so, but emphasis on the maturation of my personality through the time that I've been with him. And it was a bit sad leaving, like through the restructuring process and with COVID and that. But in a way, he saw that I would be better on my own actually, and I needed that push to get out of that nest, because in a way, honestly, being honest to myself is I kind of got into a comfortable space, and it's very scary for a chef when you get into that space. So kind of leaving him at that time was so perfect because when Violet started on, and it was such an amazing adventure. But looking back from when I just joined him, I was probably 22 years old when I started working for the first time. I was a demi chef. Yeah, so it was difficult. I entered this professional kitchen with just cutthroat chefs, and they never took a split of a mistake was not accepted. So it was so tough to just get in there. And Chef Rudy normally moves around with all of his chefs. So he moves with his team to different hotels that he goes to. So you enter here, this little small boyki from Benoni, and scrawny, like proper Indians are very scrawny when they grow up. And I was just like kind of bullied in this kitchen, but I had to like sort of climb up and let my authority and my skill show for itself. And it was really tough. So Chef Rudy played this part where he was such a great mentor to me, where he would give me the tools and allow me to make mistakes to learn from those mistakes on my own. So he never spoon feed me. He was always there to protect me and guide me through the mistakes that I made. And I was so lucky to have a mentor like him, because this rough sort of gangster like kid that comes from the Kasi now enters this professional world. And I never took I never took cock from no one. So it was like, that aggression was too much for myself. And I was so lucky to meet him because he saw the talent in me. Because to be honest, there was a few places before that I got fired. I was 3 months, 6 months, and it was only because I was too aggressive. And he just saw past the aggression and he saw this talent in me. And he gave me that chance. So many years, he got me out of so many issues with HR at many times. And it was only because he saw that this kid will become something great one day, and let me just give him that opportunity. And through the years, I mean, when I just got into management, he was such a pinnacle point in guiding me and mentoring me to become a better leader and a more inspirational person in terms of how you respect people. Because there was something that I found so difficult to understand while I was a junior chef. And getting close to my late 20s, closer to 30s, and you sort of transform the way you look at things and you respect people at a different level. And for me, that's something that the industry lacks a lot. And I'm very passionate about building awareness around that topic, because chefs need to change the way they look at the industry. It's not the 60s, 70s anymore. It's the new generation of kids you're dealing with. I mean, kids come from households where they've never been disciplined a day in their life. Now they come to your professional kitchen and you think it's okay to abuse them mentally and physically, Doesn't work like that. But very thankful to Rudy and all the guidance he's given me. I mean, I still go and chat to him before I do big things and make big decisions in my career. I'll still go to him and have a chat, have a drink with him now and again. But it's such an amazing feeling to have a fatherly figure. And I mean, he's from an Afrikaans culture. To take a little Indian boy under his wing like that, it just shows the true capacity and capability that we have as South Africans. If we just cut all of the bullshit around and really dig into personalities and how we can actually influence each other. But yeah, I will always be grateful and thankful to him. And when I tell him this, he always says, you didn't need me, né? But he doesn't really understand how much I needed him in terms of getting me to that mature state of management. Ah, being selected to join the culinary national team was the most proudest moment of my career. I mean, it's so difficult to get into the team, number one. And the first round, we were kind of like hand selected. So a lot of Chef Rudy was on the team before, and he's a gold medalist. I mean, we never got that far, but it's still my dream to bring a gold back home. I'm not going to give up until I get close to achieve it. But a lot of the big name chefs that were running the team at the time approached Chef Rudy, not directly me. And they were like, what do you think? Will the kid be keen to do it? Like, because I won a lot of local competitions. So that's how my name kind of popped up around the table, I guess. And he was just, he's a very blunt person. So he was just like, why don't you ask him? Why are you asking me? And it kind of happened like that. Then he came to me, started butter coating it, and kind of not really convincing me, but telling me the stories of what he experienced. And I was hungry. I mean, from the first competition I did and I won, that competitive drive was in me, and I always wanted to enter more and do more. And going to the Olympics and getting to that level and that stage of your career, it's like when I travel to Singapore, it's like you literally feel like you are just a small grain of rice in this bigger aspect of your industry. And I knew so little even. And you go there and you see the rest of the world competing at this high level and the standard. And it honestly, it shows you that you have much more to learn, much more to accomplish. But the most proudest thing for me was, I'm a patriot. I love my country. I am a South African full in and out. I might be Indian, but my culture is South African. I was in David and what I grew up amongst all different cultures. I am South African. And for me to be there and represent your country, to have your South African colors, to have that flag on your jersey, it brings tears to my eyes even thinking about it, because was such a proud moment for me and still is. I mean, in 2020, it took another level up because I got the captaincy. And I got to captain the team. Oh my word, that was a life-changing moment. It's like if you go back in history, I'm the first Indian ever to captain the team. It's next level. And it's like you get so many kids that are in Durban or in small communities where they'll never ever see that they could become something like that. And for me, it's like, I'm still a Kasi boy. I go sit on the street corner, drink my Zamalek with the boys. I've never changed who I am, and I never will change who I am, because that's my roots. If you don't know where you come from, you can never ever take a baby step forward. For me, just to inspire kids that come from Kasis and communities where it seems like it's inevitable that you're going to become nothing worth the space you're in, and you're not going to get out of there, and you might not have opportunities. But just to be that front face alone and show people that if you just dedicate enough time into what you want to achieve, it's possible, and it can become a dream. Your dreams can become reality. So yeah, for me, my colors, South African colors, it's next level achievement in your career. I don't think I'll ever. I think the next step is when I open Violet, the restaurant. That will be the pinnacle point. But at this point, I don't think anything can come higher than getting my colors for South Africa. The pandemic was quite a shocker for everybody. I'm not going to make my industry feel like we're special in it. We got affected more than others because it equally affected everybody. The hospitality tourism did take a bit more of a bigger knock because we were basically caught with our hands stuck in the air and we couldn't do anything about it. So it was a beautiful push for me because I literally just started off with takeaways at home, selling food from my house kitchen. And the biggest thing was to let go of my ego and just, I'm not gonna, and just be real with myself and understand that I'm not gonna be that chef putting dots on a plate or taking a tweezer and putting finicky garnishes on a plate anymore because those days are kind of gone for now. And I need to reevaluate and kind of restructure how I look at what I'm going to be doing going forward. And for me, it was just cooking because cooking got me out of that depressive state. I promise you, there was times where I wanted to commit suicide. I'm not lying to you. It was tough. For your passion, what you love for. We don't do this for money. We don't. Chefs don't do this for money. We do it for the pure love and passion to cook and see that expression on your guest's face when they really appreciate what you do. And not being able to do that. And I mean, it wasn't gradually taken away from us. It was swiped out under our feet, just taken away completely. And the difficult thing about that was to the most difficult thing was sort of dealing with that depression and how to get yourself out of it. And funny enough, it just took me getting out of bed one morning, buying a few takeaway containers, putting a menu out there, just putting myself out there. Actually, you don't know what you're gonna get, what you're gonna get out of it. And there were times where I'd literally wake up and cook for two people. Like it wasn't working, but I never gave up because for me it wasn't about just the cooking and making the money. It was getting my mind in a positive space again, being able to wake up, do some yoga, stretching, go for a run again. Just be myself again. Like get excited and passionate about an onion that's perfectly brunette, or the smell of a fresh chili that's just picked, or curry leaves like rubbed in between your hands. That's what keeps me alive. And honestly, that's how the business started. It was just getting back into my passion. And it's been a year and almost a half later, and I'm in the best space of my life. I mean, I do sort of cooking shows now. I was involved in this big Bride Master now at the moment. I mean, I've cooked in Limpopo on the mountains in a enclosed Bushman cave. Like it was literally not touched for years and years. And we're brying there. I mean, I cook for multi-millionaires. I'm on farms, on reserves. I travel. So my passion is just sort of ignited, and it's showed me so much more that I can do with Violet and private chefing and freelancing because I'm not stuck in a closed environment where there's just white walls and fluorescent lights. I get to see, smell the fresh air, be around nature, and at the same time use my passion to sort of drive it. And it's honestly got me so excited about my industry. I feel like I've joined a new industry again. Like I don't think I'll ever see myself locked in a hotel and working for a corporate company ever again. I really enjoy the flexibility and being able to have a proper lifestyle as well. Because it's not all about being obsessed in your craft. It's also having that balance and understanding how both of it can sort of come together and make you sort of more fulfilled and happier in what you do. But yeah, I think Violet's been an amazing journey and it's still going strong. I'm never going to give up. I wear my shirts every day. My logo's on me. It's something that small things that need to remind me that this is my passion, and it's my Ouma's name that's being driven through it 100%. And like I say again, it's not about the money. It's about the passion. But unfortunately, to help others, you need to make money. So eventually, hopefully Violet can get into a space where it can generate enough income where we can start pro bono chef schools. And, my main objective is to teach and pass over knowledge because, the Japanese believe if the student does not surpass the master, the craft is forgotten, it dissipates. And for me, passing over knowledge is the ultimate sort of vision for me and my purpose in life. It's just to pass over the knowledge that I have because I mean, you can't just die and keep everything that you have with you and let it go away. It needs to be passed over. And the new platforms that I'm getting, for example, what we're doing right now as well, it's a platform where you can pass that passion over to not just the 14 staff working in your kitchen, to millions and millions of viewers. You do a cooking show, you're teaching people how to do simple tasks, simple tips on how to cook. And it's no more just the 14 chefs in your kitchen. It's whoever is watching and viewing it at that time. So I feel that that push that COVID and the pandemic sort of got me into was a blessing in disguise. It honestly got me more excited and more passionate about what I do. And it's made me even understand business in a different aspect as well, and really, 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 truly enjoy what I do to another level.